You were told money follows hard work. They lied. You were told virtue brings reward. They lied again. Machiavelli knew what the powerful have always known. Wealth does not bow to the deserving. It kneels only to those who understand its true nature. And right now, as you struggle, as you wonder why others rise while you remain still, you are making mistakes. Not small ones. Deadly ones. The kind that don't just delay wealth. They execute it. 7 mistakes. Ancient. Invisible. Fatal. And if you're watching this, at least 3 of them are bleeding you dry right now. If you want to know which ones, if you're ready to see what the powerful hide, then subscribe now. Because what comes next is not for the crowd. It's for the few who are willing to see money as it actually is, not as they wish it to be. Hit that button. This knowledge doesn't wait for the hesitant. There is a room you have never entered. In that room, the rules are different. Money moves not by merit, but by perception. Power accumulates not through fairness, but through positioning. Machiavelli walked those halls. He watched princes rise from nothing. He watched merchants command kings. And he saw the pattern. The broke make the same mistakes across centuries. Different clothes. Same blindness. Let's begin. Deadly mistake 1. You believe money rewards fairness. You think the game has referees. It doesn't. You were raised on stories where the good are rewarded and the wicked punished. Beautiful stories. Useless ones. In the real theater of wealth, fairness is not a principle. It is a sleeping pill given to those meant to serve, not to lead. Machiavelli watched Florence. He saw families with no royal blood, no divine right, no moral superiority. Yet they owned the city. How? They understood that wealth does not flow to the fair. It flows to the positioned. You show up on time. You work twice as hard as the next person. You tell yourself this will be noticed. This will be rewarded. But the one who gets promoted is not the hardest worker. It's the one who made themselves visible to the person who decides. The one who controlled the narrative. The one who understood that perception is the currency, and effort without perception is just invisible suffering. Stop waiting for the world to be fair. It will not pause its cruelty to applaud your virtue. The market does not care about your intentions. Your boss does not lose sleep over your sacrifices. The algorithm does not reward your heart. It rewards positioning. Here's the shift. Stop asking, am I working hard enough? Start asking, who decides where the money goes, and how do I become undeniable to them? Stop hoping fairness will save you. It won't. Fairness is the myth they sell to keep you obedient while they take the treasure. Are you starting to see it? Drop a comment below. Tell me which mistake you think you're making right now. Because recognition is the first weapon. And you're going to need it for what comes next. Deadly mistake 2. You confuse income with wealth. You earn, but you do not own. This is the trap that keeps generations chained. You receive payment for your time. You spend that payment to survive. Then you wake up and do it again. You call this earning a living. Machiavelli would call it renting your life. Income is what they give you to keep you returning. Wealth is what you build so you never have to return again. Look around. The people you admire, the ones with actual wealth, they stopped trading time for money long ago. They trade systems for money. They trade ownership for money. They trade leverage for money. You are still trading hours. And hours run out. The poor think in paychecks. The middle class think in salaries. The wealthy think in assets. This is not just a financial distinction. It is a philosophical one. One is survival. The other is sovereignty. Machiavelli saw princes who controlled land. That land generated grain, rent, loyalty, and soldiers, whether the prince woke up or not. The prince owned a system. The peasant owned a plow. The plow required his hands every single day. The land did not. You are still holding the plow. Here is the brutal truth. If you stopped working today, how long would your life continue at its current level? A week. A month. 3 months. That number is not your income. It is your fragility. Wealth is not what you make. It is what works for you while you sleep. The shift begins the moment you stop seeing your job as your source and start seeing it as your fuel. Fuel to build the system. Fuel to buy the assets. Fuel to create the leverage. Income pays your bills. Ownership pays your freedom. Which one are you actually building right now? Comment below. Say it out loud. Because most of you haven't even asked the question yet. And if this is hitting you differently than you expected, subscribe. Because we're only 2 mistakes in. The next one is the reason most people never escape. Deadly mistake 3. You obey emotions in financial decisions. Fear whispers. Greed shouts. And you obey both. Machiavelli said it plainly. The prince who governs by emotion will be governed by those who do not. Money is the same. The one who lets fear or excitement make their choices will be harvested by the one who stays cold. You buy when you feel good. You sell when you feel afraid. You spend when you feel sad. You hoard when you feel anxious. Every single one of these behaviors is a tax. And the market collects it without mercy. The rich do not feel less than you. They simply refuse to let feelings become strategy. When the market crashes, the poor panic and sell. The wealthy pause and buy. Not because they are braver. Because they decided long ago that decisions would be made by system, not by sensation. You are excited by a new opportunity. It feels right. It feels aligned. So you invest your last savings into it. No plan. No research. Just enthusiasm. This is not ambition. It is emotional gambling. And the house always wins against the emotional gambler. When you feel the urge to buy something outside your plan, stop. Count to 10. Ask one question. Is this decision coming from my strategy or my state? If it's your state, walk away. The feeling will pass. The consequences will not. Machiavelli knew that the prince who acted on anger would lose wars. The prince who acted on pride would lose allies. The prince who acted on fear would lose respect. Money is your kingdom. Govern it like a prince, not like a beggar swayed by every gust of emotion. Create rules before you need them. Decide in advance what you will do when you are afraid. Decide in advance what you will do when you are greedy. Write it down. When the emotion arrives, you don't think. You obey the system you built when you were calm. This is how the powerful stay powerful. They remove themselves from themselves. Think about the last financial mistake you made. Be honest. Was it logical or emotional? Drop your answer below. The pattern will reveal itself once you name it. Deadly mistake 4. You are loyal to sources that do not multiply. You give your time, your energy, your loyalty to things that do not grow you. This is the silent killer. You have a job. It pays you the same whether you improve or not. You have relationships that drain you but return nothing. You have habits that consume your hours and produce no asset, no skill, no leverage. And you remain loyal to all of it. Machiavelli understood loyalty as a currency. Spend it on those who multiply your position. Withhold it from those who keep you small. The prince who stayed loyal to weak allies lost his throne. The merchant who stayed loyal to failing ventures lost his fortune. You are doing the same thing. Just slower. Your job has not given you a raise in 2 years. But you stay. Why? Loyalty. Comfort. Fear of the unknown. Meanwhile, your skills stagnate. Your market value drops. Your competitors grow. You are being loyal to your own decline. That friend who only calls when they need something. That side project you keep reviving even though it has failed 3 times. That degree you're pursuing because you already started, even though the industry has moved on. Loyalty without return is not honor. It is self-sabotage. Here is the principle. Every quarter, audit your life. Ask, what am I giving energy to, and what is it giving back? If the answer is nothing, or worse, if it is taking more than it returns, you have found your leak. Cut it. Not with anger, with precision. The surgeon does not hate the tumor. He simply removes it because it does not serve life. Your time is the only non-renewable resource you possess. Spending it on non-multiplying sources is not just a mistake. It is a form of slow suicide. The wealthy are not smarter than you. They are more ruthless with their time. They do not romanticize struggle. They do not stay loyal to what does not multiply. They assess. They cut. They move. You must do the same. What are you currently loyal to that is keeping you broke? Name it in the comments. Speak it into existence. Because until you see it, you cannot sever it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Not because I need you to. Because you need the reminder that this kind of clarity doesn't show up in your feed by accident. You have to choose it. Choose it now. Deadly mistake 5. You seek approval instead of advantage. You want to be liked. They want to win. Guess who gets the money? Machiavelli said it without apology. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Not because cruelty is noble, but because those who chase affection make decisions that weaken them. They say yes when they should say no. They lower their price to be chosen. They shrink their vision to fit someone else's comfort. And they stay broke doing it. You undercharge because you don't want the client to think you're greedy. You take on extra work without extra pay because you don't want to seem difficult. You don't negotiate because you're afraid of losing the opportunity. Every single one of these is you choosing approval over advantage. And every single one of them is why you're still struggling. The person who charges what they're worth loses clients. But they gain resources. The person who says no to bad deals creates space for great ones. The person who sets boundaries gets respected. Not always liked, but always respected. And respect spends better than affection. Here's what the powerful know. Being liked is a side effect of being valuable. But being valuable requires that you sometimes be uncomfortable to be around. You require payment. You require terms. You require reciprocity. That makes people uncomfortable. Good. Comfort is not your job. Results are. When you show up to negotiate and your stomach tightens because you're about to ask for more, that tightness is not a warning. It is a sign you are finally stepping into your worth. The feeling of danger is just unfamiliarity with power. Machiavelli watched princes who tried to please everyone. They were overthrown by the ones they tried hardest to please. He watched merchants who undercut their own value to win favor. They were abandoned the moment a better deal arrived. You are doing this right now. In your pricing. In your relationships. In your career. You are negotiating against yourself to be acceptable. Stop. Ask for more. Set the boundary. Walk away from the deal that does not serve you. The people who leave were never your people. The ones who stay will respect you more. Money does not follow the likable. It follows the undeniable. What boundary do you need to set this week that you've been avoiding? Comment it below. Make it real by naming it. Deadly mistake 6. You consume more than you create. Your input exceeds your output. This is the formula for poverty. Every day you scroll. You watch. You read. You listen. You absorb the creations of others. Their videos. Their posts. Their ideas. Their worlds. And you consume until you are full of inspiration and empty of action. Then you wake up and do it again. Machiavelli did not write about the power of consumption. He wrote about the power of action. The prince who only studied war lost to the prince who waged it. The philosopher who only thought about wealth stayed poor while the merchant who built systems became rich. Creation is the only behavior that compounds. Consumption is the drug that makes you feel productive while keeping you passive. You watch videos about business but do not build one. You read books about wealth but do not track your spending. You listen to podcasts about discipline but do not follow a system. This is not learning. This is sedation. The algorithm knows this. It feeds you endless content that makes you feel like you are improving. You are not improving. You are spectating on improvement. And spectators do not get paid. Here is the shift. For every hour you consume, create for 2. For every video you watch, build something. For every book you read, implement one idea immediately. Stop filling your mind with more information. You do not have an information problem. You have an execution problem. The broke consume. The wealthy create. Not because creation is noble, because creation is the only thing the market rewards. You are not paid for what you know. You are paid for what you produce with what you know. Machiavelli's The Prince was not written by a man who only read philosophy. It was written by a man who lived in the courts, who advised rulers, who watched power move in real time, and then distilled it into doctrine. He created a system from his experience. You are still just experiencing other people's systems. Shift it. Today. Right now. Close this video after it ends and build something. Write something. Record something. Sell something. Stop being the audience. Become the author. How many hours did you spend consuming content this week versus creating something of value? Be honest in the comments. The number will tell you everything. And if you're finally realizing why you're stuck, subscribe now. Because the last mistake is the one that makes all the others inevitable. And it's the hardest one to admit. Deadly mistake 7. You wait for permission to begin. You are waiting for readiness, for certainty, for the perfect moment. It will never come. This is the final and most fatal mistake. You have the idea. You see the opportunity. You know what you should do, but you do not do it. Because you are waiting. Waiting to feel ready. Waiting for more knowledge. Waiting for someone to choose you. And while you wait, someone less qualified, less prepared, and less afraid takes the position you were designed for. Machiavelli saw it in every court. The cautious prince who waited for perfect conditions lost his kingdom to the bold prince who acted in imperfect ones. Fortune, he said, favors the aggressive, not the reckless. The aggressive. Those who move while others hesitate. You want to start the business, but you're waiting until you know more. You want to make the investment, but you're waiting until the risk feels smaller. You want to launch the project, but you're waiting until it's perfect. None of those moments will arrive. Because readiness is not a feeling. It is a decision. The wealthy do not wait to feel ready. They decide to become ready by starting. They know that clarity comes from action, not from thinking about action. The plan reveals itself to those who move, not to those who wait. You have been telling yourself you will start when the time is right. That is a lie you are using to protect yourself from failure. But in protecting yourself from failure, you guarantee failure. Because not starting is failing in slow motion. Here's the truth they don't tell you. Everyone who has what you want started before they were ready. Every single one. They did not have all the answers. They did not have perfect confidence. They had a decision, and they honored it with movement. Machiavelli himself wrote The Prince while in exile, stripped of power, with no guarantee it would ever be read. He did not wait for a publisher. He did not wait for influence. He wrote because he refused to let his knowledge die in silence. That book outlived kingdoms. What are you waiting for permission to start? Who are you waiting to anoint you? No one is coming. You are the permission. You are the signal. You decide, and then the world rearranges itself around your decision. Not before. After. Stop reading the next book. Stop taking the next course. Stop waiting for the next sign. You have enough knowledge right now to take the next step. You do not need to see the whole staircase. You just need to take the first step. And the moment you take it, the second step appears. This is how everything you admire was built. Not by those who waited for certainty. By those who moved despite uncertainty. What is the one thing you've been putting off that you know you need to start? Say it in the comments. Make the declaration. Because the moment you name it, you stop hiding from it. Now let's bring this together. You believed money rewards fairness. It does not. It rewards positioning. You confused income with wealth. One is temporary. The other is structural. You obeyed your emotions in financial decisions. The market punished you for it. You stayed loyal to things that did not multiply you. That loyalty became your cage. You sought approval instead of advantage. So you were neither respected nor wealthy. You consumed more than you created. So you filled your mind and emptied your potential. You waited for permission to begin. So you never began. These are not random mistakes. They are symptoms of a single illness. You have been living according to someone else's rules. Rules designed to keep you producing, consuming, and obeying. Not owning, not commanding, not rising. Machiavelli did not write for the masses. He wrote for the prince. The one willing to see the world as it is, not as it should be. The one willing to act without the comfort of consensus. You are that prince. Or you can be. But it requires a different logic. One that does not wait for fairness. One that does not romanticize suffering. One that does not confuse motion with progress or noise with results. Here is your new code. Position yourself where decisions are made. Do not wait on the edges hoping to be noticed. Build ownership, not just income. Let your assets speak for you while you sleep. Decide with strategy, not emotion. Create rules when you are calm. Obey them when you are not. Audit your loyalties. If it does not multiply you, release it without guilt. Choose advantage over approval. Respect compounds. Likability does not. Create more than you consume. The world pays creators, not spectators. Begin before you are ready. Clarity follows action. It does not precede it. This is not motivation. This is restructuring. You are not broken. You are simply operating inside a system designed to keep you small. These 7 mistakes are not failures of character. They are failures of perception. And perception can be corrected. Machiavelli was hated in his time, called cynical, called ruthless, but his ideas outlasted his critics. Why? Because they were true, not morally comfortable. True. And the truth does not need your agreement. It simply waits for your recognition. So recognize it now. You are not poor because you are lazy. You are poor because you are playing a game whose rules you were never taught. The wealthy know these rules, not because they are smarter, because they were closer to the source. Now you are closer. What you do with this changes everything. You can close this video and return to comfort. Or you can take one of these 7 mistakes and destroy it this week. Not all 7. 1. Pick the one that's bleeding you the most. Name it. Then act against it with precision. Stop waiting for fairness. Stop trading time for pennies. Stop letting fear choose your moves. Stop giving loyalty to dead ends. Stop shrinking for applause. Stop consuming your potential. Stop waiting for someone to tell you that you're allowed. You are allowed. You were always allowed. The only question left is whether you will act like it. If this struck you somewhere deep, subscribe now. Not for me. For the version of you that needs to hear this again in 6 months when doubt returns. Make sure this finds you again. And comment below. Tell me which mistake you're killing first. Let the algorithm know you're serious. Let yourself know you're serious. Because Machiavelli's wisdom was not written for crowds. It was written for the one in the crowd willing to step out of it. Be that one. The room I mentioned at the beginning. The one with different rules. You just entered it. The door is still open behind you. You can leave. Go back to comfort. Back to hoping the world will be fair. Or you can close the door. Lock it. And learn to move the way power actually moves. Not later. Now. Your wealth is not in your job. It is not in your degree. It is not in your last name or your connections. It is in your willingness to see clearly and act accordingly. Everything else is noise. Machiavelli knew that princes are not born. They are made. Made by decision. Made by ruthlessness toward distraction. Made by refusal to obey the rules designed for servants. You are not a servant. So stop acting like one. The wealth you want is not far away. It is on the other side of these 7 corrections. Make them, and the gap closes faster than you think. Ignore them, and you will spend the next 10 years wondering why nothing changed. The choice has always been yours. Make it now.